Evening. This is me, Glen MacQuirk. Just in case you didn't recognize me, I've been on a camping tour, and so purposefully left the Razor back home, and I trust that tonight it's apt for the topic that we're going to be talking about. I will also be joined by Henny and Gustav later after my presentation this evening, and to share some more and exciting insights on protecting your purpose at all cost. It looks like we're living in an environment where many things are under attack. I don't know if you've noticed recently, but there seems to be some rockets flying our way. And when I say rockets flying our way, I don't know about you, but you know, there seems to be an onslaught of all kinds of different things happening in our lives. And I'm not talking about the wars north of South Africa that might be taking place. I'm talking about the wars that are happening right here, right now in your life. And maybe you can identify where you feel that everything that could go wrong does go wrong sometimes. And I often hear people say, you know, especially in the church environment, help, I'm under attack. Well, I think it's time for us to rise up and change things around. And so I'm going to talk to you this evening. It's actually a message that kind of ties in with the Mapped series. So forgive me, but my mind seems to be tuned in to the letters MAPD. And so it's amazing how many words, acronyms, and different things that we can come up with. And I trust that tonight, as we wage war, the very first one that I speak about, which is this phrase, and that is to get out there and to massacre mediocrity. And when I say massacre mediocrity, I want to talk a bit about being average. You know, mediocrity is a mountaineering term, I'm told, and it's to get halfway. It's to be average. And so often we are being average is actually being worst of the best and best of the worst. That's what average means. A person who is operating below average, and I'd like to be bold enough to say that is probably the majority of people, is to think solely about themselves. It's all about me, myself, and I. If I'm not getting the recognition, if I'm not getting the benefit, if I don't get what I want out of this meeting, if I don't get what I need out of this relationship, then I'm out of here. And that for me is somebody who's operating below average. They are simply interested in their own glorification. And so when I talk about massacre mediocrity, I'm not even addressing the people that are below mediocrity. And I'm sure that you know of many, many people operating in that place. Certainly it's a place that I have operated in many years of my life. And if you're honest, you might say, you know something, I've actually put myself above other people on a number of occasions. I think that kind of person in your life and in my life needs to cease to exist. The mediocre person is somebody who actually goes beyond just themselves, and they think at least about their family. They think about their wife. They think about their children. They think about their parents, and they kind of want to protect those who they love. And I think that is all fine and well, but we are meant to be more than that. We are meant to be more than just thinking about our lifetime, our generation. We need to think more than just the second generation and the third generation. You know, go beyond thinking about your grandchildren or your great grandchildren. Let's think multi-generationally. I mean, what about thinking 1,000 generations from now? I believe if you and I begin to think that way, then we're certainly going to massacre mediocrity. We're going to be people that set a new trend. People are not worried about their own preservation, but rather they are focused on ensuring that their purpose perpetuates beyond their life. That is living a life that's beyond mediocrity in a way that impacts the world powerfully. I think we need to also go in this war, this war that we are waging. I think we need to attack adversity. And the reason I say attack adversity, because adversity is actually or can be your friend as long as you begin to attack it. And when I say attack it, you go to the gym, there's a lot of adversity waiting there for you. There are weights, there are machines, there are treadmills. There's all kinds of things waiting to attack you when you get onto them and begin to use them. But I think we need to respond in those situations because adversity can be our friend. Adversity can make us strong. So often we allow adversity to attack us and we shrink back and disappear, and we no longer work against it. But in working against the adversity that we face, we get stronger. I don't know what adversity you are facing right now, but in all probability, the very adversity that you are facing is there to develop your character, to build your strength, to prepare you for the next thing that's coming. We are not here to wimp out. We're here to rise up and to face adversity head on. Attack it with everything that you have, because as you do, you're going to grow stronger and stronger and stronger. So attack adversity. I think you're going to love this next one, and that is we need to pulverize procrastination. Man, procrastination is an enemy of note. I think so many people have found themselves in that place where they delay the inevitable. They just wait and wait and wait and wait and wait and wait. To the point where they no longer have to wait because whatever they're waiting for has passed by. The opportunity is no longer there. The fascination of the dream that they have has been lost, has been clouded by television and other things that may have come our way. Procrastination robs the world of your gift. Procrastination takes your treasure to the grave. Procrastination harvests your purpose for itself. And I think that you and I need to rise above that. We need to pulverize procrastination. We need to put procrastination where it belongs, and that is in yesterday, not today. Because if you put it in today, today becomes tomorrow, and nothing gets done. So let's pulverize, let's punish. Maybe you can come up with some other word, but let's get rid of procrastination. We need to wage war against procrastination. We've been talking recently, and if you've been following our program, watching these recordings, you will know that we have talked about destroying distraction. Wherever I go, the people I meet, they are talking about the power of the distractions caused by digital devices. Just 4 or 5 years ago, South Korea was apparently leading the charge with distraction, to the point where they coined a phrase, digital cocaine, glow kids. They tell me there's now 300 to 500 institutions in that country to help people get off of the digital, what's the right word to use over here? I'm just thinking of that word. Henny, you're going to have to help me. the word where people are addicted. There we go. The addiction, digital addiction. They've got rehabilitation centers. Can you believe it? But just this weekend, I heard a fascinating statistic, and that is that South Africa's youth are now spending between 8 and 9 hours a day on their digital devices. I don't know if that's the result of moving education online. I don't know if that's the result of freely distributing iPads to every Tom, Dick, and Harry who looks like a school kid. I don't know if it's the parents who are using digital devices as babysitters. I don't know what's brought this about, but man, we have stepped into a dangerous zone, and we need to begin to destroy distractions. We need to be creative in getting rid of these devices, putting them where they belong. They should not be controlling us the way they do. There's no doubt in my mind that digital devices distract one. My digital device has been permanently on do not disturb mode for the last 5 years. And I want to tell you, it has been one of the greatest decisions I made, because I still, despite the fact that my digital device is in do not disturb mode, I don't believe there's an hour that goes by with me not checking to see if someone has called. So I tell everyone, I say, listen, if you make contact with me, I will get back to you within an hour, because I know that that's my weakness. I'm already doing that despite not having the phone beeping or buzzing. When it buzzed in my pocket, it didn't matter who I was talking to. I was distracted. I know that when other people's phones buzz or beep in when I'm in their presence, they are distracted. We need to destroy these distractions. We need to wage war on distractions. And you can identify the distractions in your life. Maybe there are others beyond the digital device. You know your weakness. We need to destroy it. Let's wage war against those things. I want to maybe just touch on other aspects that will enable us to win this war, that we are waging against mediocrity, against adversity, against procrastination, and against distraction. And one of the ways that we can win this war is to maintain momentum. Maintain momentum. Once you've started, don't stop. Keep moving forward. Keep the main thing the main thing. And the best way to do that is to maintain momentum. Keep moving. I think so often people stop their momentum. They stop moving. They sit back to relax. You know, when you're a farmer, you can't do that. The weeds keep coming up. You've got to get them out. You've got to take them out. The plants keep growing and getting ready for harvest. You've got to be there. You can't take a holiday and go away for the weekend. No, when harvest time is there, when the crop is ready to be harvested, it needs to be harvested. Otherwise, it rots. We need to maintain momentum. We need to be like the sun that rises every day. We can't take time off. And I think life is like that. Imagine if your heart decided to take time off and say, listen, Henny, Gustav, I'm going to take a 5-minute break over here. I've been doing this ever since you were born. Just give me 5 minutes. I mean, that is a challenge if your heart decides to take a 5-minute break. And I think we need to be aware that our lungs, our heart, our brain, everything maintains momentum. Maybe you and I need to do the same. To win this war, we need to advance again and again and again and again. I say again, we need to keep advancing, moving forward. You know, no retreat. I think I'm fascinated by the stories of war, past wars, that made relevant in today's time, that there was this constant moving forward in the face of insurmountable odds. We need to become the immovable object, the unstoppable force. That's who we need to be. So let's advance again and again. I also believe that to win this war, we need to keep pursuing our purpose with passion. Pursue your purpose with passion for life, with perseverance, maybe I should say, for life. That's what we should be doing to win this war. It's necessary to keep your passion alive, ignited, because it's your passion that ignites the passion in others. When you are passionate about something, it's contagious. It builds the army, in a sense. More and more people start getting on board and saying, hey, you know something? I want to pursue my passion. I want to be engaged with my purpose. I want to live a life. So many people today are concerning themselves with leaving an inheritance. An inheritance is what you leave behind for others. A legacy is what you leave in others. Purpose is connected with legacy. It's not about inheritance. I think so many people are there waiting for one day somebody talking at their funeral to say that here lies a good man. He's dead, but he left us a lot of stuff that we can fight over. That's inheritance. Legacy is what you leave in the hearts and minds of people. Let's become legacy oriented. Let's pursue our purpose with passion. Welcome, Marvin. Great to have you joining us. And then finally, to win this war, we need to drive through to our destination. Let's prepare. Let's have enough fuel in the tank. Let's have the right vehicle. Let's have the energy, the commitment, the conviction to drive through to our destination. I believe if you've ignited your passion inside, you're going to be driven from within. It's not going to be necessary for someone outside to motivate you, to inspire you. In fact, you're going to have people out there who declare in conversation with you that they are the devil's advocate. If people repeat that again and again, be aware, because just maybe they are, in fact, the devil's advocate. And they're there to keep you from doing what you were born to do, maybe even challenging you on what you were born to do, maybe getting you to be so distracted that you begin to pursue what they think they were born to do. There comes a time where you're going to have to be driven from within. And the way to be driven from within is to have a dream that ignites a flame inside of you, a flame that is fanned by passion. And I believe that each and every one of us is born to identify what our passion is, to get stuck in, and to begin to do what we were born to do. I was traveling down through the Free State this weekend. And for those people who live in South Africa will know where that is. And I saw a fire that had destroyed thousands and thousands of hectares of grazing land. Now, if you are watching television like you shouldn't be, then maybe you would have known about that story. I didn't. I arrived in the Free State and I just saw blackness as far as I could see. And there was another fire burning towards the place where I was going to be camping. Thankfully, after 50 kilometers of burning, they managed to extinguish that fire. But it doesn't matter what fire heads your way. It doesn't matter how many fires have been started around you. When you have a fire within, there is no fire outside that can harm you. And I want to encourage you to ignite those flames of passion. So when the flame of the destroyer comes your way, you can laugh in its face because your fire is stronger than that fire. And you're going to put it out. And you're going to see new growth, new excitement, new things happening in your life. So together, let's just recap very quickly before I bring Henny, Gustav, and Marvin in over here. Marvin's action plan is the other map. Maybe we can talk about that sometime, Marvin. But let's wage war against mediocrity. Let's wage war against adversity. Let's wage war against procrastination, against distraction. And the way to do that is to maintain momentum, advance again and again, pursue your purpose with passion, and drive non-stop to your destination. I hope this message has made sense for you this evening. I invite you to join us as we wage war against these things. Let's be warriors. Let's get out there and not take these distractions and these other things that come our way. Let's set the example that others can follow. I'm looking forward to our discussion in a moment. I have Marvin, Henny, and I'm trusting that Gustav will be able to join us in studio as well. We're going to have a short little break as Miguel tells us why Map for Life is so important. And immediately after that, the team will be joining us, and I look forward to their discussion and insights.
Muy buenos días a todos. I am Miguel Sanz from Madrid, Spain. I started using Map for Life back in 2016, where this picture here, where I am with Glen, belong to that year in the training I did in Pretoria. And you know, there are many talks, many talks out there in internet, in real life, where great speakers tells you that you are unique, that you need to find your purpose, what you need to do in life. You end up out of those talks really happy, but naked, because you have no tools. What's Map for Life? Map for Life gives you the tools to achieve your goals, to be precise, to do all the things you need to do to achieve them. You are unique. Be mapped.
Thank you so much, Miguel. So good to have Miguel join us, and a special welcome to all of you. Henny, great to have us. Maybe I should just pop your names up there quickly so that people can see you in advance and get to know you. So Henny, great, welcome aboard. Marvin, thanks for joining us. Wonderful to have you with us, and it's so good to see all the Map for Life stuff. Just this weekend, Gustav, I was in a crowd of people struggling to find my son, and he had the wisdom to take off the farm hat that he was wearing, which everyone else was wearing as well. He took that farm hat off and he put his Map for Life cap on. And as he did that, it was amazing. As he did that, I immediately spotted him and was able to find him. So it's amazing how that blue 4 stands out in a crowd. Gustav, welcome. Good to have you joining us. Maybe you could just quickly introduce yourself. I see you are muted at the moment. So while you're unmuting yourself, Henny, you can just introduce yourself quickly to the team, and we'll move straight on to Marvin after that.
Good evening, everybody. I'm still Henny from a different part of Roodepoort. I moved over the weekend, so that's why it's still dark here. There's no load shedding. I just need to start fixing lights here, and I can continue. I started the Map for Life journey about 11 months ago, and a lot of things have happened. If you haven't listened to our MapCon that happened about 3-4 weeks ago, go listen to it, and you'll hear my story. There's so many awesome things happening if you don't let your purpose be stopped by any wars or any news around you. Happy to share with you tonight. Looking forward to learning from you as well.
Thanks, Henny. Welcome. Marvin?
Good evening, everybody. My name is Marvin Hawkins. I've been with MAP for just closer to 10 years now. And I enjoy always listening to Glen talk, and I'm excited about today's topic on waging war. Hi, Henny. Hey, Gustav. Thanks.
Marvin, I think it'll be a good idea. You guys can see a different screen to what I can see, so perhaps you can help Gustav to find the unmute button on his on his screen. On mine, it's on the bottom. There's a bottom panel where it is, but maybe it looks different on your side. So if you can just type a message in the private chat. Ah, there we go, Gustav.
Yes.
Sorry, Glenn. Yes, I couldn't hear you. It's the signal broke up, and for the past about 3 minutes, I couldn't hear anything. But yeah, so I didn't realize I had to. It's my turn to speak. So yeah, yes, I just returned from Mozambique, and it was very pleasant to be there, and I was pleasantly surprised with the people and also what's going on there, and so I'm glad to be back. Yes, I don't know what you asked from me, but maybe you can just repeat. Maybe the signal is better now.
Just very briefly to introduce yourself. You're looking 10 years younger. I think I need to go to Mozambique as well.
Definitely. Yes. Yes. Now I'm an engineer and mechanical and industrial, and I do consulting work, which is I have this divided distraction. It's a distraction that gives me income, and then also I would like to be more involved in the Map for Life, and I'm gradually working towards that. And yeah, and I'm doing consulting work in terms of business improvement and advanced risk management, as well as facilitating creative problem-solving, lateral thinking sessions. And I'm also, as a hobby, do martial arts. So I think that's enough said.
A martial arts practitioner, another map. But you know something, Gustav, I'm so glad that you shared that, because I was just kind of appreciating the incredible wealth of knowledge that we have within the Map for Life network. You know, just you guys might not be fully familiar with this, but over 100,000 people have used Map for Life that I'm aware of. And we have nearly 10,000 people that are constantly engaged with Map for Life. And I was just wondering to myself that even if we just took 1,000 of those 10,000 people, or of the 100,000 people, and we put them together, I think we could solve many of life's challenges, problems, issues, circumstances, all those other things that we don't talk about in Map for Life. But maybe having yourself here as an identified mechanical and industrial engineer, and Henny, just remind me, what engineer are you?
Industrial as well.
Industrial engineer. And I'm at the bottom of the pile, as they say, as a civil engineer, but then I rose to the top and became a life engineer. But you know, as engineers, we tend to focus on problem solving. I think that's, you know, they say if there aren't any problems around, just invite an engineer and he'll find the problem. And if he can't find one, he'll make a problem, just so that he's got something to do. But tonight we're talking about waging war on, I've mentioned a few things, and maybe we could just talk a bit about that from your perspective. Henny, mediocrity was the first thing we talked about. Perhaps you got some ideas relating to that aspect of mediocrity, or being average, or just being comfortable with the status quo. What are your thoughts? I know you're reading a lot of books. You've got a lot of quotes that you've been posting up on your wall.
I think you're starting to read my mind very well. The first quote is, funny enough, one that I read this morning from Steve Harvey, that said, if you don't separate yourself from distractions, your distractions will separate you from your goals. And I think it's that simple. It's really to that point. The second thing, and I may be running ahead, was really that word called procrastination. For me, that's the word that almost stood out from your talk for me, because it's such a big thing. It's really about procrastination in my mind is idle energy. It's energy sitting there waiting to be released, and then it releases itself on something else just so it doesn't have to do what it's supposed to do. But the only antidote against procrastination is really something called passion. If you've got passion, you will never have procrastination, because you will always have something that you need to chase. If the purpose is there and the purpose is connected to passion, procrastination is not something that will be in your life.
I put it on screen. I'm gonna avoid putting it on screen in future because it disrupts the positioning of everybody, because I think there's going to be some really good things that come out of this session, and I want to make sure that we can actually snip out these little video clips. And if I keep moving things around, it's going to create a bit of a difficulty for the editing afterwards. But idle energy, procrastination being idle energy, it's almost like potential energy. You reminded me of
Yes.
of my science back at when I was still at school, and I remember a teacher having a ball at the top of a slope, almost like these water world slides. And he had a ball up there, and he said, "That's potential energy." And then he bumped it, and it turned it into kinetic energy. And I think maybe sometimes we need somebody just to give us a bit of a push. And if we have that little bit of a push, we can turn that procrastination or that potential energy or that idle energy into something that is really high speed and impactful. Gustav, your thoughts?
Yes, there's a close relationship between procrastination and mediocrity. If you procrastination is actually not an easy concept in terms of to practice it. You have items that you prioritize, and especially when you are very busy, you tend to put things aside. And when it becomes sort of procrastination, and by doing that, you lose focus, and when you start to try to catch up on the things that you actually just left for being addressed at a later stage. And that leads to mediocrity, because you catch up and not doing anything properly. So that is one of the big dangers. And the way that one should avoid that or address it is in any case you have to prioritize. So there are some things that you just have to leave, and not even procrastinate, but just to say no. I cannot do it. I'm not willing to do it. I haven't got the time. And live with the consequences, and focus on what is important towards your destination, and keep your destination like your board, your vision board, that you keep that in mind all the time, and that will lead to excellence. Actually, we are a lot of people are comfortable, especially in our country, are comfortable with mediocrity, and that pulls down everybody around you because it becomes a habit. And I remember also that I did some work in Germany, and what impressed me reading the German newspapers was that at some stage they had a huge fight in the media about the motor industry, the quality in the motor industry that's going down, and they solved that by addressing it in public and fighting it out, and that was to me an excellent example of not allowing mediocrity become a habit. And in the martial arts also, that's a constant fight that you strive to become better, but you never try to correct a mistake. You try to learn a new technique. And I see mediocrity also. The fight against mediocrity is not to address it, but to improve and constantly improve, which is also what you said, that it is a war, that you have to just carry on moving forward all the time. And that's and also negative thinking. I'm just thinking about negative thinking. I was involved in the creative problem solving and solution finding training, that the group of people I was involved with, if there's anybody that applies negative thinking or signs of mediocrity, but just turn their backs onto that person. The person is just ignored. And you find that also in the martial arts, the same thing. They ignore people that become aggressive towards themselves and not striving to become better all the time.
Gustav, thank you so much for that insight. Though I'm going to bring Marvin back in. He was, I'm sure, having one of those connectivity issues that none of us are familiar with. But Marvin, welcome back. Good to have you on board. I was just thinking, when you were talking about procrastination, Henny and Gustav, that what if we actually talked about the things that would make us an expert procrastinator? Because maybe if we know what makes us very good at procrastinating, we can perhaps destroy it. we could push it aside. So, Marvin, what are your thoughts on what are the things that you, well, let me not be personal. What are the things that other people do that help them to become good at procrastination?
I think an interesting perspective that I've been exposed to is if something that you're needing to do is not linked to something that's most important to you. Now, every one of us have 3, 4, 5 things that are most important to us, that the most important being of the highest value. That you'll find money for, you'll make time for. It's something that you research about. It's something that you'll want to teach people about. It's something that energizes you. We as MAP refer that to that as our purpose, and if you're doing things that are not aligned to that's most important to you, that you value, that you find gives you that kick or that tick, then you will gradually not put priority on it. You'll gradually and gladly not do it, and in other words, you'll procrastinate because it's not important to you, and also because you don't understand the why of why doing it will help you. And if you can create a linkage between why doing it will help you in the thing that's most important to you, it'll remove that procrastination element quite significantly. The important thing is to define what's important to you. Important thing is to define and create that linkage of why, if you do this task and how it can help you in that's most important to you, then to remove that procrastination part would become a lot easier.
Do you know what I found? I used to procrastinate. I'll never forget. I was about 7 years old. I was still, we were living on my grandparents' farm. We were staying in a wooden iron house. And my mother used to tell us when it was bath time, and I used to procrastinate. And the time would pass by. Eventually the sun would set, and it was a case of, Glen, it's bath time. Glen, it's bath time. And I would be playing with my toys. I'd be doing something outside. I'd find anything to do other than go and bath, until one day my mother then said to my dad, Dennis, Glen still hasn't gone to the bath. Well, I think I heard the belt unbuckle, and before anybody knew, it was as quick as a flash. I was in the bath, having my bath, and maybe just talking about pushing people a little bit to release the potential energy. That for me is a memory that I have, and perhaps we need to remind ourselves of those moments when our parents were kind of helping us along this journey, so that we didn't develop, Gustav, what you were saying, the habit of procrastination, because I do think it becomes very much a habit that we act on. Henny, you've listened to some of what we're saying. Maybe there's some other insights that have been triggered as a result of the discussion.
I think so. I think there's a saying that you are the sum total of the 5 people that you spend most of your time with, and I think that is also true. If I'm going to be spending time with procrastinators, and it sounds like it's very difficult, or you won't find people like that. But I could be sitting in the house and I know there's work to be done, and my wife knows there's work to be done, and she says, let's just quickly watch this series. Let's just quickly finish XYZ. I'm spending time with a procrastinator. It is something that I'm going to start doing myself as well. So I think it's important to make sure that you're spending time with the right people. And if you can't, make sure you get those people to follow your lead to not become procrastinators. So I think it's very simple and very quick to fall into the trap of being a procrastinator if you spend time with the wrong people. But like I said, I think the only anecdote, or the only fix to get rid of that is to say, get the right habits, and the right habits comes from passion. If your passion is there, the big why is there, like Marvin said, nothing is going to stop you, and you will not procrastinate.
Then I think there's just latching onto what Henny is saying. There's, and I'm not sure if I might have missed it while I was away. There's this social pressure of not being alone, and that kind of ties into a little bit to what Gustav was saying, of being mediocre. When you stand out, when you overdoing, or not even overdoing, when you're just kind of doing what you should be doing, while those around you are more focused on being idle and not actually doing the thing, especially in relationships that are close, those 5 people that are close to you, or co-workers, there's this pressure, this obligation that you have to be like everybody else. You have to stay below the line. You have to do, and I think that's something that's an interesting topic for another day. But because of that pressure, I think that can also contribute to procrastinating, because you can get the job done, and like for me personally, I work better under pressure. As much as I don't want to admit it, I recognize if I've got 20 minutes to do something, I'll leave it until the last 20 minutes, and I'll do what I need to do, and I'll actually do it a lot quicker. And I could have, and I actually got a lot of feedback from people around saying, "Wow, this is a great job," or whatever, But I've also been around people that don't want you to do that extra. I think of a situation where we were all presenting at a specific review of our business, and I added extra 3 or 4 slides going into a bit more detail on stuff, and I got these side chats from my colleagues saying, "Why are you doing all of these extra things? The requirement was only this. Now you go above and beyond." And that's what I'm saying about the social pressure of being mediocre. There is that element that I think if you're going to be giving it to those around you, then it's easier to not do something. It's easy to just do enough or not do enough, you know?
Marvin, you're reminding me that you and I are very similar. We have to keep procrastinating until the pressure's built up enough. So when you've got that absolute last minute, it's 5 minutes left to the delivery or whatever, then suddenly everything kicks in. And I think we've got to find ways to actually activate that sense of urgency a lot earlier. I remember when I was doing my military training, there was a tendency for people to purposefully procrastinate or purposefully, in the martial arts, Gustav, I'm sure you have those students. And I think I was one of them at some point in my life as a youngster. And that was, you would make sure you're standing behind someone else, so that the instructor was not able to see you. And you would stand there and have a kind of a breather of some kind. Now, I don't know if you have people like that as students, but I thought I must share a quote with you before you respond. And this is the quote. Henny, you're gonna write this down. I know it says, procrastination is like a credit card. It's a lot of fun until you get the bill. It's a lot of fun until you get the bill. And I think that's what happens, is we only discover afterwards what the cost of procrastination really is. Gustav, tell us about those students who stand behind the others.
Yeah, there are ways to address it. Putting pressure on them. Through the co-students, and we have a way of addressing that, and that is about what I think what Henny said also is, or Marvin, is creating urgency for yourself to as a way to address procrastination. Yes, I remember. Yeah, Marvin said that he waits until it becomes very urgent to do, and that you can create that urgency in your mind also. But I want just to add to what Henny said about the people close to you. That you have people that for you some things are not important, and they don't understand what you are doing towards your destination, or they forget about that. And the things that are important to them, you don't pay attention to, so in their eyes you are procrastinating, and it creates a lot of frustration with them, and sometimes tension also. So I'm thinking about the my 200-year list, which is a distraction from my wife, when I have this 200-year list of things that I have to do, and I tend to procrastinate on many of those things because I don't see them as important. But to her, it's very important, and it becomes a distraction, and that is something that one have to. It's one of the challenges one have to address and share one's vision with the people close to you. I think also when people think that you are doing more than what is required, maybe they don't understand your destiny. They don't see the same picture, the same vision that you see. And it's important to share that, so that people can assist you when you procrastinate, and remind you that, hang on, you are now not focusing. So focus is very important in terms of this.
So what you're saying is procrastination is best put off until tomorrow. So we need to encourage people to procrastinate tomorrow. I remember seeing a quote saying something like, "Action destroys procrastination." And often we need to just take that step of action. I was reading. We're focusing a lot on procrastination this evening, but I remember in the early days when I was talking about Map for Life, and there was a section where I used to talk about the fact that we spend our life waiting. You know, you wake up, your alarm goes off in the morning, and but before it goes off, you've been lying awake waiting for your alarm to go off. Then your alarm goes off and you hit the snooze button, and you have the best 5 minutes sleep of the night, and then it goes off again and you hit the snooze button again, and then you finally the pressure's built up, and now it's a race. You go and you switch on the kettle, you wait for it to boil, you put the tea bag in the teapot, you wait for it to draw, you go and switch on the tap, you wait for the bath to fill up or for the water to warm, and you go through this process. You wait at the traffic light for it to turn green, and you get to the office, you wait for somebody to unlock the office, you go inside, you wait for it to get to 8 o'clock so you can start working, and then you wait for tea time, you wait for lunchtime, you wait for afternoon tea, you wait for the final bell to go, and you repeat the process all the way home, and you wait for your favorite TV program to come on, you wait for the weather at the end of the news, you fall asleep just before it happens, you wake up, you then wait to go to bed, you then get into bed and you wait to fall asleep, and you repeat the whole process again. And so it certainly feels like we're spending a lot of our time waiting for things instead of making things happen. So maybe this topic this evening is important. You know, mediocrity is the enemy of good. I think average is the enemy of good, and so we need to be striving to do what we were born to do. I think sometimes comparing ourselves with others gets us to participate in their race and to do what they believe is important. And, Gustav, you were talking about that. You know, other people might not understand what's really important for us. And perhaps to overcome that, we need to be very clear on our purpose and to communicate our purpose to others so that people know, hey, that guy's on a mission or that person's on a mission. Marvin, I see you've been nodding your head there. I don't know if you've got something that you want to quickly share.
In this week, I was listening to a talk by Denzel Washington, and something that really stands out for me, what he said, and I'm not quoting him correctly, but he was saying it's important to not get caught up in the busyness and not make any progress, because it's easy to get busy doing something, but if you're not busy doing things that are actually progressing you to move forward, that's the same as procrastination, isn't it?
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah, I agree. Yes.
Yeah, it's keeping you from doing what you're supposed to do. Yeah,
correct. And therefore, it's important to be. I think of that talk that I did now recently, the MapCon, becoming that conscious about yourself, conscious about your habits, conscious about the things that you do, things that you're not doing, is what will help us to overcome this thing. Because I think procrastination can be like a virus. If you don't deal with it and become conscious of it and look out for signs of and symptoms of yourself procrastinating, you can become a professional procrastinator, like Glen was saying. And this thing will eat.
Marvin, you're talking about something that for me, something I come across often is people procrastinate because they can't see the end of the road. You know, they see what they need to do now, but they can't, or they've got the resources to take the first step, but they don't have the resources to take the last step, in their opinion, so they don't take the first step. And I think just as an encouragement to all of us is that you don't have to see all of the steps to the end destination to make a start. It's like often when I travel to my my birth city in South Africa, when I head down in that direction, I've got to pass through some mountains. And often when I pass through those mountains, the cloud cover is low, so it appears as mist. And the despite the fact that you can't see maybe more than 100 meters in front of the vehicle, we just keep moving. And what we've discovered is that the mist retreats as fast as the car is moving. And maybe that's just a message for us today. You might not be able to see far ahead, but you can see far enough to take the next step. And when you take that next step, suddenly the things that were holding you back retreat, and you can take the next step. So maybe that idea of mist is something that can help us. I saw another quote, and that was this: the greatest amount of wasted time is the time not getting started.
That's good.
Perhaps we should just get started. Henny?
Yeah, I think what a lot of people don't know is that the biggest commodity in life is really time. I read something, a quote that said, "What is the difference between time and money?" And the biggest difference is you always know how much money you have, but you never know how much time you've got. And I think time is a commodity that we need to use. And to link that to procrastination and to really go practical with it. If you join the Map for Life team, you get what you call a begin book. This book has got some habits written down at the bottom. Those are the important things that you're supposed to do every day. If you're busy and you're doing something else, then you're not following your passion, you are procrastinating. So if I keep that diary open, if I go in every day, do what I need to do, and I tick the boxes, I am not a procrastinator, and that's how simple it is. If I leave some boxes open, I'm classified as a procrastinator, and that's how simple it is.
I just had, I was traveling with somebody yesterday, and they had 2 bottles of water in their car. And, so I didn't have any place to put my bottle of water. And they went to say, the reason I've got 2 bottles of water in my car here is because I use Map for Life, and I wrote down a habit I need to read. I need to drink 2 liters of water a day. So they've got 2 1-liter bottles sitting in their car. They sit on their desk just as a visual reminder to do that which they have committed to do. And so habits are a very important part of obliterating procrastination. I want to just maybe move on to the second part of our chat this evening. And that was the idea of maintaining momentum, advancing again and again, kind of beating at it in a sense, pursuing our purpose with passion, driving to our destination. Maybe there's some thoughts that you have relating to those 4 aspects. Gustav, what are your insights in that regard, or maybe advice that you can give?
Yes, the first thing that came to my mind is maintaining momentum is also to build in rest, periods of rest. If you don't do that, you can't maintain momentum. It is natural that you need the rest in between, and the rest can also be what you said, waiting for the kettle to boil is a mini period of rest. But during those rest periods, it's not switching off. It is in what they call in the martial arts, they call it moxo. Moxo means to empty your mind. It's not to empty your mind like I believe the yoga people talk about. It is emptying your mind from what you are currently busy, and to refocus on what you need to do for that period. That's to refocus. Once you finish that part, to refocus again on the next item. And I see that as quite important when you are waiting for a kettle, for instance, when you are queuing at the bank, that you use that period to empty your mind from other things that distract you, but to focus on, for instance, for planning. You plan while you are waiting in the queue, or you review what you've done so far, and refocusing. And so, yeah, that is what came in my mind when you said momentum. That is part of your momentum as well.
Gustav, we had an interesting now when Anne and I got married, having a video of your wedding was kind of the new thing. It was like the in thing. And so we got a videographer to video our wedding, and 6 weeks or 2 months after the wedding, we finally got this video back. And what was fascinating was to see Anne's father walking down the aisle, and he had a book in each pocket of his nice new suit. But that was him. You know, he was always prepared for downtime. If there was anything that was going to waste his time, he would have a book ready to read, and there it is. It's captured on video. It was wherever he went, he was always prepared for an unexpected opportunity to continue to read, develop, and grow. And maybe this is right. In Map for Life, we talk about rest and restoration, and I think that really gets us to recharge. And part of rest is to maybe do the things that we really enjoy doing. And so I like this. I like your connection with rest and momentum. I think this is important, and we see it. And if we're talking about the idea of war, typically in a war situation, you'll have soldiers that you put into the front line. They're there for a short period. You bring them back to rest, and you replace. So the army keeps advancing, but you're constantly bringing people back from the front to rest them so that they can fight another day. And maybe we need to take some advice from that. Henny?
Yeah, I think adding together what you said there is, for me, once again, just almost like a simple formula, was really to say passion plus focus equals purpose. And it's that simple. If the passion is part of where you want to go and you are focused on what you need to do, I think the purpose will just be the net effect of what you're doing. And I agree with what Gustav said as well. Part of your purpose is to be rested so that you can do what you need to do at full speed, because if you're not getting rest, you are going to become mediocre. So rest is definitely part of focus, to say, have a plan, make sure you sleep enough at night so that you are fresh when you start the next day. Then you won't have the scenario like you sketched there. You lie awake, wait for the alarm to go off. When you awake, you get up and you start doing things because you've got something that you're chasing. There is a focus and there is a passion that's driving that.
There's another thing that Zig Ziglar talks about, and that is to have through goals. You know, it's to maintain momentum. Always have a goal beyond the current one. And I think, you know, what he was talking about there is not necessarily the end goal, the vision, the destiny, but rather the task at hand. You know, sometimes we get focused on a particular task, so focused when we finish that task, we sit back and relax, and we kind of just waste a whole bunch of time when we should be having another bigger goal that's beyond that, so we keep and maintain that momentum. So I like the idea of setting through goals, which is something that he suggested. Marvin, your comments?
Glen, I think we're not meant to do life alone. I think if professionals can recognize the value of having a coach who is there to keep an eye on, are you doing the basics brilliantly? And if not, then they highlight that to you. And I think that's where Map for Life can come in. And working with somebody that's like-minded, working with somebody that's got your best interest, working with somebody that's actually keeping you accountable to doing the things that you need to. is going to be super crucial for you to maintain that momentum and keep moving forward. Sometimes when we take that moment to stop, and I like the fact that Gustav says we must rest. I found recently in a cycle race, when I did stop, to start up again was tough. But if you have somebody on your side that says, come, let's keep going, it just helps you overcome that block inside your mind. And so I say life is not meant to be doing alone. Getting involved in a map club will be pairing you with people that will keep you going, keep you moving forward, keep encouraging you, and keep you from discouraging yourself.
It sounded like I almost heard Joanne speaking there in the background. I can't believe how quick this evening's gone. I just looked up at the time and I said, "Goodness me, it's already past our 8 p.m. session." Marvin, you were really touching very strongly on the MAP Club, which is all about mentorship and something which we have alluded to this evening, which is accountability and participation, being part of something, and the diligence that is necessary. And I think those are all things that are there designed to help us maintain momentum, constantly advance, keep pursuing our purpose, and to drive towards our destiny. I think that that framework is ideal. And I know that you leading a MAP club on Monday evenings, and so is Henny. And I think those are really admirable things to be part of. So just in closing, just one last quick comment from each of you, and we'll end this evening session. Apologies for going a little bit over time tonight. Gustav, should we start with you? Just a final word from your side, and then Henny, and then Marvin.
Yeah, I think momentum and focus is important, and in terms of distractions, to keep that you must keep the focus on that all the time.
Follow one course until success.
Yes. Sometimes it may be two different courses, but to be able to focus on both of them and to find the passion behind it. If there's no passion, you are wasting your time. Actually, you are just busy and active, but not really effective in terms of what you do.
So we need to be careful that we're not just busy, but that we're making progress towards our destination. Thanks, Gustav. Henny?
I think, let me close with a quote that ties back to what you were saying about through goals from Zig Ziglar. The size of your dreams must always exceed your capacity to achieve them.
Can you just say that again? The
size of your dreams must always exceed your capacity to achieve them.
I like that. It makes a lot of sense. It causes us to stretch and to grow. Thanks, Henny. Marvin, your side?
I just want to repeat the saying that says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go with somebody or go with people. That's what will keep you on track. That'll keep you moving and get you to the end goal.
I think that's a great place to stop. I'd love to hear some feedback on your dream weekend that you had fairly recently. I'm sure there were some things that you heard from there. Perhaps you need to prepare a talk for us on a Wednesday evening from the notes that you took at Dream Weekend, Marvin. Gustav, welcome back from Mozambique. Great to have you here. You look like a new man. Henny, you in a new house. I think we're all at a place where we're going to be starting anew. So let's get out there, maintain momentum, advance, pursue our purpose, and most importantly, be decisive about our destiny. Thank you so much for joining this evening. We're going to close out with a short video. For those of you who've been watching or listening to the recording, please share your comments, and we invite you to join us by sharing or posting your comments or questions on Facebook or YouTube. It would be great to have you join us even in the panel. So have a wonderful evening, great week. See you next week same time, same place, as they say. Good night.
Good night.
Today, for me, today for you, today for each of us, is an opportunity and an invitation to step into a world of abundance where your life matters, where your vision makes a difference, where the world will know that once upon a time in the past there was a man or a woman who rose to the calling of God in their life and made the impact that they were designed to make. And you have that ability. Just die to self, surrender to Him, and become significant. I couldn't be more excited for you. I could not be more excited about the future, because every person that you equip to take that step of putting a plan together for their life, a plan that is aligned with the desires of their heart, those people, those children, young and old, are going to come alive, and they're going to cause a ripple that goes through time that impacts the lives of others. Make the choice today to live a life of significance.